Hey YouTube, David here. Welcome to the channel for all the new subscribers. Um, Tonight and it's probably something I should have done a while ago, but I think the father's telling me I need to make a video on the eighth book. Means how the ninth book will be coming out here soon, and the eighth book leads into the ninth book. And I usually do a recap on all the books. So what we're going to do tonight is we're just going to talk. We're going to download the eighth book here on here, and I'm just going to go through the index, and we're going to kind of talk about things. I will go ahead and forewarn you, there will be things that will be said in this video that you are not going to like. Uh, and the reason I say that is because it goes into the ninth. This book leads into the ninth book, and we're going to get into three chapters. We're going to be talking about three chapters that are really, I had no idea when I wrote those three chapters in this book of what they were really going to be, how they were going to reflect in the ninth book. And, I've been debating about doing this video for a while, week or two, and I've been debating whether I was going to talk about the ninth book because it's not available yet. I'm not sure exactly when it was be. I just sent the manuscript in a couple weeks ago with that. So, but it really, well, let's just do this. Because I'm in a little bit of a rush. I've got an hour and 40 something minutes left, 47 minutes left on my 34-hour restart, and just getting things wrapped around, and I want to take a shower right before I leave. So I want to do this video in about an hour. Hopefully I can get it knocked down to an hour. I'm going to drive about 7 or 8 hours tonight. Anyway, so what we're going to do, we're just going to go, we're going to download the manuscript here for I am the firstborn. I am the first to rise from the dead. All right, this isn't. Let me try it this way. I run on my mobile hotspot, so my internet connection does not usually perform the greatest. Let me do this. Let me close the website out. Let me go ahead and just click on this again. Just go to the website, go to the home. I want to see if this works properly. See, it's not loading correctly. Oh, there we go. Maybe something's happening. It's not putting the books in there. Ah, let's go here. Let's go down here. I am the firstborn. I am the first to rise from the dead. Let's go down here. Download the manuscript. We're going to go ahead and open it. All right. I am the firstborn. I am the first to rise from the dead. By Jesus. Introduction. It's not the introduction, that's the index. I never even noticed that they had that wrong. That's okay. I gotta just look now. I never even noticed it. Anyway, it's not the introduction. First chapter, hook in your jaw. Now, I'm talking about this for a minute. Father caused me to fall in love with a woman in the Philippines. This was to represent how he is married to all of us. I wound up being there for her mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. In return, she wound up doing the same for me. No physical intimacy or any of that. Okay? I'm in the United States, she's in the Philippines, she's in Cebu, Philippines, and he wound up, I don't know if I should say that chapter or not, but he wound up getting me to fall in love with this woman. And wound up marrying me to her, just like he's married to all of us. I'm here in the United States. She's in the Philippines. I was to be there for her mentally, morally, spiritually, financially, emotionally. I'm mixing them up. Uh, even though I'm on the other side of the world, just the same as the father is on the other, is not here physically with us. He's married to all of us, but he gives us a bill of divorcement. And that really comes into effect. We talk about it in this book, but that really comes into effect in the ninth book. We really start reflecting on that. All right. But he wound up causing me to fall in love with her, even though I'm over here. And through this chapter, we kind of explain how the process of this and how much fun it was for me to do this. Okay. Well, now we go into the becoming the firstborn. Now, this is something I take personally because there are so many people out here that say they're a born again Christian. When they walk into a church, they go get baptized underwater or whatever, and they come out thinking they're reborn. They still have everything they own. They don't do anything differently. Okay? And I'm not going to show this in the scriptures tonight, but a person cannot enter our kingdom of God unless they're born of how's it worded? Born of the flesh and born of the spirit. That's being reborn. Okay? You don't walk into a church, have somebody baptize you underwater so everybody in the church can see you be baptized by water because you're seeking their appraisal. Okay? And then walk out and think, oh, I'm reborn. You're not reborn. You still own everything you got. When you come into this world, you had nothing. When you leave this world, you will have nothing. When you come into the spiritual world, you have nothing. That's being born again. That's what I did in 2016. I laid down my life. March 8, 2016. I walked out into the wilderness after giving everything I owned away to the poor and the needy. Now, I could take you to the scriptures where I know I'm Jesus, but the scriptures are saying Jesus is saying, if thou wants to be perfect, sell all that thou hast, give alms, and follow me. Take up your cross and follow me. There's the cross we all carry. Give alms of everything you sell, everything you own, give it away, and follow me. Then you're really born again because now you're putting your trust into the Father to provide you everything you need, not the things that the flesh wants or desires, but what you need. And you're comfortable with just the things you need, not all the extra crap. Anyway, living in Satan's world, Satan's kingdom, Satan's world. We are living in Satan's world right now. Every one of us. Now, I revealed this on Coast to Coast AM show that the son of perdition is everybody as one. Okay? Satan is within all of us. Revelation 17, the mother of abominations and harlots of the whole earth. That's our mother. God spiritually married to her. Just like when man and woman marry one another, they make love, they make a child. Part of the man's in the child, part of the woman's in the child. There. Okay? Well, we are as one is we are the son of perdition. God told the serpent, on thy belly thou shalt go, and dust all thy days of thy life. But in the first verse of Genesis 3, he says, the serpent is more subtle than any creature. It's not a snake, it's not a lizard or anything like that crawls on its belly. God said, on thy belly thou shalt go. We're not listening. On our bellies where the serpent went. The serpent is our imagination. If you're not listening to every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God, which is in the King James Version of the Bible only, King James, then you're listening to your imagination. If what you're hearing in your conscience doesn't line up with the scriptures, you're listening to the serpent, the devil, Satan, because he's inside of every one of us. All right. And I'm not going to get real technical on this. Fearing God, the Father. Fearing God is the beginning of wisdom. Proverbs 1. A couple other spots in Proverbs, quite a few spots throughout the Bible. It says it in Psalms, and I think it's Psalm 25. Psalms 25. It actually says the secret of the Lord is with those that fear God. If you don't fear the Father, you're never going to understand who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing. And that's why I say, and I even talk about it in this book, I talk about it in the seventh book. I think I mainly talk about it in this book, that people are not going to fear God until they start seeing death and destruction start to come upon the world. Now, I'm not talking about a few hundred people. I'm not talking about a few thousand people. I'm not even talking about a few million people. I'm talking at least a couple billion people. When you start seeing that, you will formulate a fear of Him, because you're going to wonder, what am I doing wrong? I have a genuine fear of it. I worry whether I'm doing wrong or right every step I take, every breath I breathe, every time I open my eyes. I desire to be doing what He needs me to be doing, not what the flesh wants me to be doing. That fear is knowing that He has the dominance, He has the power to make your life miserable or more relaxing. Not by physically coming down here, whooping your butt, but He can cause you to be in a car accident. He can cause you to get a speeding ticket. He can cause you to get stuck in traffic when you're really rushed for time. I mean, He can make everything chaotic in your life. And knowing that, for me, when He said, I'll give my children to other men, first time I read the Bible, when He said, I'll give your children to others, that formed a fear. It's like that. This thing, the Bible was published 400 years ago. At that time, it was 400 years ago, because He called me to the Bible in 2011. The King James Bible was published in 1611, 400 years. In fact, I even point this out. I think I said it in the ninth book. Okay, but the King James Bible, if I remember correctly, it was published May 2nd, 1611. He called me. I can't remember the exact date, but I know it was the beginning of May when He called me to the Bible, because they were talking about Comet Ellen and coming in when I was listening to Coast AM, and they was talking about people being raptured, and I'd never heard about the rapture before. Okay, I think it's in the fifth or sixth book, there's a chapter called Get Over Yourself. This chapter literally explains why you shouldn't think about the rapture. It tells you how the scriptures teach against the rapture. Anyway, I didn't know none of that when He first called me to the Bible, but that was 400 years in between the Old Testament and the time in the New Testament, or 400 years between the Old Testament, time of Jesus, or 400 years from the time the King James Bible was published, 400 years till the time He called me to the Bible. Do the math. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make some commentary that I don't think I really talked too much about in this book. Okay. But I can't believe how many people are so stuck on their own lives right now, and they can't hear and see everything that's going on in the world. Yeah, they're saying some kind of peace, Israel. Now they're trying to say some kind of, Trump might be visiting, meeting Vladimir Putin next week. Now, blah, blah, blah. When they say peace and safety, 1 Thessalonians 5:3, when they say peace and safety, then comes sudden destruction. Okay, look at all the earthquakes that are happening. I mean, my gosh, they're happening everywhere, you know, uh, and they're hitting a good sized magnitude. There'll be wars and rumors of wars. There'll be earthquakes in diverse places. There'll be many false Christs. Yes, in the books I show you, there have been at least 45 documented false Christs before me. None of them understood the scriptures as I do. None of them understood our Father. None of them understood what he's doing and why he's doing what he's doing. And none of them saw his glory as I do. And none of them had the biblical witnesses as I do throughout these books. There's 15 to 20 biblical witnesses to show you all exactly who I am. As I told you, there's some things in here you all are not going to like. Now, next chapter, we are going to the Philippines. And this is something I kind of wish I'd have done on all of the books, because all the books, yes, they're heavy bombarded teaching on the Bible, but all of them are lessons that I've had to go through and experience. But we didn't say that until the ninth book. In all the books, I've always said I've been in hardcore, hands-on, one-on-one training with the Father. In this book, I say I was in hardcore, hands-on, one-on-two, because now I'm going to go ahead and say this. The woman in the eighth book, her name, I call her Mary. I call her Lydia in the eighth book, and Mary. I will go ahead and say these are names that she asked me to do. She asked me to use false names because she was, maybe I shouldn't say this because I'm talking about what's in the ninth book, but I'll let it just stay this way. Those are fake names in the eighth book, but her real names are exposed in the ninth book. I'll go that far. I will not talk about what's in the ninth book until the ninth book I have my copies in my hand. Well, maybe I might not have my copies in my hand because I might not be. Nope, can't talk about that. Well, we'll kind of talk about that because in this book, the father, went in, in the very first chapter, I did mention that because he had me thinking about when I was falling in love with this woman and I was having so much fun going through everything with her. And the father told me to think about how I said in the seventh book, when you think about the things Jesus did, because he didn't do it. The King James, we're going to be talking about that here in a bit. The King James Bible is not a history book. Okay, all the things you think Jesus did is going to happen to me. Many things, such things has happened since here in the United States, but I can't do the walking on water. I can't calm the waves. I can't do like I call island hopping because Jesus is always going from one piece of land by boat to another piece of land. Well, that's where I'm going to wind up moving to, is the Philippines. I have to go over there to finish fulfilling the scriptures. That's where I got to be to do that. Can't do that here in the United States with me driving a truck here. We don't have the islands, we don't have the oceans. I once in a while, yeah, I get to go to the ocean, but I can't go island hopping and that stuff. So I'm going to be going over there to the Philippines, and I think I'm going back over there before the end of the year. I can't say I think. I've already got the ticket booked. I already got the ticket booked. But I don't know if I'm staying. I won't know, and he's done this before. I know I'm getting off topic, but I won't know for sure if I'm staying there until the day I get there. And the reason I say that, and I talk about this in the books, the first time he sent me to Israel, I thought I was going over there to stay. And as soon as the plane landed up and was pulling up to the, as soon as the plane landed and was pulling up to the walkway at the airport, Tel Aviv, the father told me, he says, "You're not staying here." I'm like, okay, well then let me know how long I was going to stay here. And I explain it in the books, later that day, through things that happened right where I come over and so forth, the cost of the hostel that I stayed in, wound up staying in. The price was exactly what I took out of off my ATM card before the trip over, and I knew that's exactly how long I was there. I was only there a week, but I thought I was going to stay there. And as soon as we landed, that's when I thought it all the way, even the whole flight over there, I thought I was staying. When as soon as we landed, he said, "Okay, you're not staying here." Okay, so I won't know if I'm staying there until I get there. I just, part of me wants to go over there and stay there. And you have to understand that in the ninth book because there's nothing here for me in the United States whatsoever now. But I'm not going to talk about that. You'll understand that when you get to the ninth book, and I actually tell you all about that in the ninth book. Okay, but anyway, We are going to the Philippines. We are going to be talking about my trip to the Philippines. Listen as the father. All right. When I got over to the Philippines, well, on before I went over there, all right, the night before my flight, I got a text message from the airline saying there might be a delay in Dallas because of the weather forecast, you know, and I was at my daughter's. I even told my daughter at that time, I says, if they cancel my flight, to where it's whatever, I said, I'll just get another plane ticket, come back home. She didn't really want me to go because every time I leave the country, I always tell my daughter, I might not be coming back. I don't know. It's up to the Father. It's His will. I seek His will, not mine. That's why I say when I go over to the Philippines in November, if He tells me not to come back, I'm not coming back. And I don't really care. Which, I don't know if I'll still make videos while I'm over there or not. Everything's going to be different. I have the power to lay down my life and have my power to take it again. This is all explained in the books. All right, but anyway, on the flight from Moline, Illinois to Dallas, it got delayed a couple times. By the time they delayed it the second time, I knew they was going to cancel the flight. And I started thinking, okay, I'm just going to get a plane ticket and go back to the Quad Cities, where my daughter's at. And all of a sudden, I heard it in my mind: you go back there, try to save your life, you'll lose it, because someone had called and said if you go over there, you're going to die. You know what, people? I talk about this in the books. I don't care if the Father was to take me out before this video was done. I don't care. I'm ready to go home. I'm so sick and tired of being rejected by everyone in here. I don't care if I'm the only, if God does me just the same as He did. What is it? Noah, Noah, Job, and Daniel. They saved their own souls. Okay, let me go. Y'all don't want to read the books. Y'all don't want to get an understanding of our Father. That's not on me. I've done what I was supposed to do. I'm done writing books now. I'm 100% positive of it. The ninth book is the final book. It's a lot shorter, and the title of the book, it will tell you. This is the last book, because everything's getting ready to break loose. Anyway, that's getting into another topic. So anyway, on my flight over there, they wound up canceling my when I got to Dallas. This is weird. Okay, they canceled my flight. So I had carry-on luggage and I had checked-in bag luggage. I'm thinking, okay, well they're not gonna mess that up. They're gonna send my checked baggage with on the flight. They put me on a completely different airline. Didn't leave for 12 hours. I was only supposed to lay over in Dallas for like 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours. Anyway, they put me on a completely different flight that flew from. I was supposed to go to Dallas, L.A., L.A. to Tokyo, Tokyo to Cebu. The flight they put me on was, I went to Dallas. The flight from Dallas went straight to Tokyo. Well, then my luggage still went to L.A. Yeah. So, well, now when I got to Tokyo, they only have one flight there going out a day that goes to Cebu. I left there. The plane landed 1 hour after the daily flight left for Cebu. So I had to wait there another 23 hours to catch the next flight the next day going to Cebu. So I got to Cebu completely 24 hours later, 24 hours later than when it was scheduled to get there. Then I got there. Well, then Mary, I'll call her Mary for right now. Uh, it was like every time I tried to teach about the Bible, because that's all I'm about, she would like tell me I got to do everything differently. I'm doing everything wrong. And just, she goes at everything through the business perspective of it. And I don't come at this from the business perspective. As you all can see, I don't do this to make money. I don't try to do this from a business level, whatever. I don't even, I've got a ninth grade education. I can't do it through a business. I don't want to. Okay, God didn't charge me anything for this. Why should I charge you all? Yeah, I laid down my life, but I didn't physically have to pay Him for it. So I don't want you all to have to pay for it either. It's the same thing. But anyway, while I'm over in the Philippines, we, Mary and I butt heads. Oh my gosh. It was just everything. Well, then, and I'm skipping a lot of details. You really have to read the books in order to get a feel of this. But anyway, the night before the flights were supposed to leave, we went out for we went out for dinner. It was the second night we went out for dinner. The night before, I didn't eat anything. I have to you'll have to read the book about that. But her and her other half got into an argument and whatever. She went to sleep, and then I can't read Cebuano because I speak English. I read English. I'm trying to learn Cebuano now, just in case the father tells me I'm staying. But still, at the same time, I wasn't familiar with how to read the things on the places to get things to eat, and so I wound up not eating that night. Well, the next night, she promised a cheeseburger and fries, and when we finally went to go get it, we sat down. She started telling me, as soon as we sat down, cheeseburger and fries is my favorite meal. Now, this is 2 nights in a row, I was promised a cheeseburger and fries. The first night, I didn't eat it all because she went to sleep. Second night, we sat down in the restaurant, and she looked at the menu and just automatically ordered me some kind of beef dish that I had no idea was. Well, I got mad. Where's my cheeseburger and fries? This is my all-time favorite meal. I love cheeseburger and fries. She ordered this beef dish, and I'm like, what happened to my cheeseburger and fries? Well, her and her other half, they were talking for a while, and he's like telling her, you did tell him, blah, blah, blah. He was going to have cheeseburger and fries. And I'm sorry, but this is my favorite meal. I'm getting mad. Why did you order me some dish that I don't even have any idea if I'm going to like or not when I know I love cheeseburger and fries? And that's what I came in here thinking I was going to have. Well, anyway, this goes on for a few minutes, and she goes, okay, we'll eat this dish. We'll order you cheeseburger and fries. Then she goes in telling me I got to do everything differently. And I'm like, no, I don't got to do everything differently. I'm not, this is what I'm doing. I'm pointing on the table like this, just like this. And I can see her looking around. She's all paranoid about what people are thinking. And I heard it in my mind that says, she doesn't want you here. Well, no, first thing I heard was just get up, walk away. And I'm like, I can't do that. They're expecting me to pay for this. We're not going to sit in a restaurant and do this to them. Well, then she starts in on it again. I mean, she's just really persistent. But you got to do this differently. You got to do this differently. Blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I heard in my mind, I was like, she doesn't want you here anyway. Just get up, walk away. I reached into my pocket. I grabbed out, I don't remember how much it was, pesos, 4,000 pesos, something like that. And I just threw it on the table and I left. I said, I'll just get out of here. Well, the next day, we're flying back to Cebu from Manila. We're in Manila, or not Manila, but we're in Palawan, Coron. And yes, I had to pay for all that too. And we're at the airport. We get the tickets, and all the tickets come up on my phone. But we got a couple hours before the flight takes off because the airport shuttle, took us there like at 1 o'clock or 12:30 or something like that. Or not the airport shuttle, but the motel shuttle took us there. Whatever it was, I don't know which shuttle it was, but it was one that came with the package, and we took the shuttle to the airport. And the plane didn't take off for a couple hours yet, 2 or 3 hours yet. So obviously we're not getting along. I walked away from him at the dinner table. We're not talking hardly at all. And I sit by myself. They sit over there, and I just turned on some Netflix using the airport Wi-Fi. I just turned on some Netflix and watching some Netflix while waiting for the plane. Well, when it comes to boarding time, I don't know what happened. Well, I kind of do. I don't. I didn't do anything. I was just watching Netflix, but their boarding passes disappeared off the phone. Don't know why. Now that's where I got to, they had a problem with, that's all the details I'm going to give you on that. They had a problem with their IDs. You have to read the book if you want to find out why. Because the book explains it, but they had a problem with their IDs and they wouldn't let them fly back. So I wound up flying back to Cebu by myself. The father separated our flights back. The father says, walk away. That's what happened. And lo and behold, there's some other stuff that happened after that. I wound up buying them tickets to get them back the next day and all this good stuff. More talks about that in the book. All right. Now we're getting into the chapters. Now we're going to talk about 3 chapters that have everything, and I mean everything, to do with the 9th book. And when I wrote these chapters, I had no idea. In fact, I figured it would probably be closer to a year before I wrote the 9th book. The 9th book, this is the 2nd book this year, going to be published this year. I think it was what, March or May? March? I don't know when the 8th book was published. I don't even remember right now. But I've already submitted the manuscript to the 9th book. So I didn't even have any idea these chapters were going to have everything to do with the 9th book, but they do. Going through life with one another. Okay, I'm going to relate it to driving a truck. Right now, I mean, yeah, when you got your family, you're all going through life together. You know, everybody's got their likes and their dislikes, and everybody tries to they're supposed to try to compromise. Well, when you're driving down the road, it's kind of the teamwork. The last chapter kind of sums that up. But you're going through life with everybody on the road with you. When you walk into a store, you're going through life with them. They're going through life with you. You may have your specific things that you're wanting to get in the store, but they have their specific things. Doesn't matter if it's different from what you're getting. All of you are still doing the same thing. Remember how we're supposed to do unto others as we'd have others do unto us? Are we treating them with loveness and loving kindness, a certain amount of respect, not to put them above anyone else, but not walking up, being around people and being totally rude to them. So you're giving them a certain level of respect, as to say, hey, you know what? I realize I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. We're equals. We're both suffering. We're suffering on our separate paths, but we're both going down the same path right to this moment because we're in the same area, same space. We're going through life with everybody, even everybody that you're driving down the road with. We're doing this together. It's, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the team book. Next chapter, going through life with God the Father. Oh boy. This is the part you're all not going to like. Because most of the world refuses to go through life with God the Father. Most of the world believes that I came here 2,000 years ago, changed my perfect Father, and now you can do whatever you want. You can add stinking holidays that are not even talked about, listed in Leviticus 23, the holy days. And you can add all these holidays, even though Deuteronomy 4:2, do not add or take away from the Word of God. Do not take it, do not add. You're adding to the Bible. You're not going through life with the Father if you don't want to take the time to read what He said. Yes, I show you all. We're going to be talking about this here in the King James Bible's not a history book. We're going to be talking about this. Okay? But how many people are willing to go through life with God the Father? Hearken to what He's saying. Now, here's the catch. And then I'm kind of touching on a little bit in the 9th book. Now, I think, it's talked about in this one too. Okay? When God said He's married to us, you don't realize it. But He's been there for you since day one, mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. You would not be able to do what you're doing today. You would not own what you own, or you would not be watching what you're watching this video on whatever you're watching it on if he hadn't been there for you mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. He's been there for you. But how many people in this world have taken the time to listen to everything that he has said so that you could go through life with him and be there for him mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially? I'm the first. I'll guarantee it. I'm the first. The ninth book really reflects on that. The last chapter. Oh, he got me crying so hard on that. Not tears of sadness, not tears of anger, but tears of joy. But that's in the ninth book. Okay? But if you're not willing to learn about who he is, what he said, you're not willing to hearken to his commandments, you're not willing to try to understand what he's doing and why he's doing, you're not there for him mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, or financially. Because you don't take the time to love anyone but yourself. It's me. Do for me. And if I have to change anything in my life in order for me to go through life with you, Father, I'm not doing it. Most of you are until I shut this video off because I've already made you so mad because I'm hitting the root core. You know I'm speaking the truth. But if you want to go through life with God the Father, just as he's gone through life with you since the day you was born, since you were in your mommy's womb, he's been there for you. But oh no, I don't need him in my life. You don't love God. And you're not willing to share his life with you. You're not willing to share your life with him and go through life with him. Now, next chapter, going through life with Jesus. I hear so many people say, oh, I love Jesus. No, you don't. You love this fictional character that supposedly came here 2,000 years ago and changed my perfect father, but yet you don't want to change anything in your life and you expect to obtain my father's perfection when you're done with this life. You don't listen to anything that Jesus says in the Bible. Jesus says, read the scriptures, learn the prophets, listen to, believe Moses. John 5, if you don't believe Moses' writings, you're not going to believe my words. John 6, all those that believe Moses and the prophets, the Father sends to me. You don't love Jesus, you love yourself. Once again, if you have to change something in your life that makes your life inconvenient so that you would actually have to go through life with Jesus or me, that's what we show in this in the ninth book. Okay? I've had to live through every one of these lessons. Mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. And I will say financially. Because I have helped his fellow servants, vessels out for years. I've had to do this. If you're not willing to listen to what Jesus says, you're not willing to go through life with Jesus. You think I came here 2,000 years ago and I changed my father, but yet you want his perfection when you're gone. Now, how hypocritical is that? How can you want his perfection when you don't want anything to do with it now? That's when he says in Jeremiah 3, I give you a bill of divorcement. We talk about this in the first book. That divorce is not final until the end of the world. Well, hey, guess what? I'm here now. Hebrews 9:26. Well, for often he must suffer since the foundation of the world, but once in the end of the world has he appeared to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. I'm here now. Read the books. If you love Jesus, then read my books. That he had me right. because he is the only true Savior. In these books, I just lead you back to the Father. I give you all an understanding of who he is, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. If you don't want that, you don't love anybody but yourself. And you can expect what's coming down on you with his wrath. Nothing in the Bible. There's not love yourself before anyone else, then love God the Father. Oh, well, let's make a third commandment. Oh, then love your neighbor as yourself. No. Everything first, love God with all your heart, soul, and mind. Love your neighbor as yourself. Everything about the Bible is about loving everyone else, at least as much as yourself, preferably more, because we're told to hate our own lives. I'm not going to show that in the scriptures, and I don't even think this book talks about that. All right, the King James Bible is not a history book. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk a whole lot on this. Uh, I could talk forever on this. And when the father first told me this, I had already sent the manuscript into the publisher, the original manuscript. And I'm drinking coffee because I'm going to be driving here in a little while. But I'd already sent the manuscript to the publisher, the original one. And then the father, he had me talking to Mary and via email or text. I don't remember what it was, but all of a sudden he's like, because she was trying to persecute me and tell me, oh no, I can't be Jesus because Jesus did this, blah blah blah. And then the father's like, just tell her the King James Bible's not a history book. So I did. I sent the message right back to her. And then it's like, I started thinking about it, and I was like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. I've been showing you all. I only appear once in the end of the world. I haven't been here in the past. And I started going through all this stuff. And it's like, I told the father, I said, I'll write another book. And he says, no, I want it in this one. So I had to call the publisher, and I said, told him, put everything on hold. Wait, I got to do this chapter. This chapter winds up being about 100 pages long. It's a long chapter. I'll give you an example. And we're just going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about the days of Noah. All right. Noah's Ark didn't happen. Okay. We are to learn from the Bible, not about the Bible. No one will ever find Noah's Ark. They're searching for it. They'll never find it because it didn't physically happen. Now, I want you to think about this. Remember, John 4, 23 and 24. The hour shall come, and now is, that all true worshipers of God must worship God in spirit. God is a spirit, and he seeks those that worship him in spirit and truth. Everything about the Bible is spiritual. Now think about this. If Noah built the ark, let's just say, okay, I'm here in the United States. Let's say he built the ark here along the Pacific Ocean. All right. We don't have in the United States lions, giraffes. They roam in the southern hemisphere. Okay. We have some mountain lions, but we don't have the big burly lions, the king of the jungle lions. They've never. I think we have some black panthers and stuff like that, but there's a lot of animals that live only in the southern hemisphere where it's always warm. All right. Now, in the same part, now we don't have. I don't think we have polar bears that live here in the United States. Well, except in Alaska, yes. But there are certain animals that only live in certain environments. So for Noah to actually put this ark down in one spot and have every animal of the planet to come be on this ark can't happen. But remember, we're supposed to learn from the Bible, not about the Bible. But think about this. What are we told many times it'll be just as the days of Noah when the Son of Man is revealed. Yes, I've been revealed now. All right. Now, first thing I think about, and I don't remember if I showed it in this book, okay, but I don't remember if I showed that part. Anyway, nobody believed Noah while he was building the ark until the waters came. Then it was too late. I have been doing this for going on 15 years now. And to this day, not one person believes me. Now, I do talk about this in this book that Mary supposedly believed me. And I'm talking about the ninth book, but I'm going to go ahead and say she supposedly believed. She told me she was celebrating, stop celebrating birthdays, holidays, and she got to the point she even told me she wouldn't eat the unclean. And I don't know about the unclean because I think that might have been halfway true because of some health issues she's going through, but I know for a fact now that she never quit birthdays and holidays. It was all a lie. Uh, I mean, I'm going into the ninth book. I need to stop on that. Stop. I need to stop on that. But anyway, back to the days of Noah. In the day, why did God destroy the people in the days of Noah? Because everybody was listening to their imagination and not the Father. What's going on now? Same thing. All right. Uh, Waters abided on the land for 150 days. We show in the first book there's 30 days to God's 30 days to a month in God's calendar. Well, the waters abided on the land for 150 days. We're going to go to Revelation 9, we're going to have 5 months of hardcore life. This also lines up with Ezekiel 9. Okay, talks about that. And I got the cross on my head. Ezekiel 9, where God tells everybody to go out, destroy all those that hurt those that do not have the mark, his seal on their foreheads. I've got the seal. Show you a picture of it in the fourth book. But anyway, that's what I mean. It's not that we're not supposed to learn about everything we can about Noah. What can we learn from it? All right, we got to connect the engrafted word where it talks about, well, it'll be just the days of Noah when the Son of Man is revealed. You know, well, we learn from, okay, what happened in the days of Noah? What's it going to be like when I'm revealed? I've been revealed. Nobody's, yeah, no, I can't say nobody. I haven't got a, I know I've got a big uptick on my channel, and I never plugged the channel. So I know people are starting to read the books now, which brings me great relief because I don't know how long it'll take, but they'll start rising from the dead as I have. I'm back into the Garden of Eden. I Once we got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, we were sentenced to death. I'm no longer sentenced to death. I'm back in the Garden of Eden. That's what these books do for you all. They give you all an understanding of the Father, who he is, what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. All right. Committing adultery. Now, all right, I told you about the separation in the flights with Mary and I right before coming back. Well, there was like 2 or 3 months I stopped helping her financially. I stopped being there for her mentally. I stopped talking to her altogether. And the father's like, David, you're committing adultery. And I'm like, what? I've not had sex with her nor anyone else. I haven't had sex with anybody since I walked away from my wife back in 2015, 2016. I'm like, how can I be committing adultery? I stopped being there for her mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. Now, what this actually shows, though, because we already talked about going through life with God the Father, going through life with Jesus. How many people have been there for God the Father, mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially? Now you know why the divorce is going to become final, because love is a two-way street. It doesn't just work in what benefits you. No, you have to make some things inconvenient for your life in order to be there for the Father. It isn't always about making what's right for you. Oh my gosh, do you think I wanted to do all this stuff I've done for the last 15 years? Heck no. My flesh says, you know what? I would love to find me some hot chick and just shack up with her and make love to her 7, 8 times a week and just eat some home cooked meals. Have a place to go home to. But you know what? I can't because I got to finish fulfilling what I need to finish fulfilling for our Father. And I'll get my reward in the next world. I don't need anything in this world, any rewards. I'll get them in the next world because I'm there for him mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, financially, physically, also. In every aspect of my life, I want to be there for him because he's been there for me way more times than I could ever count. That's what this one does. As the as the first chapter shows how we're married to him, how he's married to us, just the same as I was married to Mary, even though we're on the opposite sides of the world. Well, if you're not willing to become there for it, to be there for him mentally, morally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially, that divorce is going to become final. You're not getting into his house because you have no love for him. All right, the Great Burning. We're in hell now. This one actually goes, excuse me, the Great Burning shows how all these things listed in Deuteronomy, all these health problems, anything that makes you feel other than perfect is some kind of flame you're actually going through. Many of you have probably already shut this video off because you couldn't handle the flames. I speak the truth, and the truth hurts. But I'm not going to water it down. I'm not going to change it because that's what you want. Because I'm here to glorify my Father, not you. All these health problems, and I talk in this chapter, we don't go through everything in Deuteronomy 28. We go through several things. We talk about how these things corresponded with my life or people in my life or whatever, and how this is all flames that we're going through. Earth is hell. The earth is on fire. It's one big spiritual fire. Moses saw the bush, but the bush didn't burn. Look at the earth. It's engulfed in flames, but it's not burning. Remember, what we can learn from the Bible, not about it. We walk through fire every day. We cause our children to walk through fire by teaching them the ways of man, not the ways of God. Celebrating all these stinking holidays and stuff, teaching them to celebrate birthdays. You're causing your children to walk through fire because the Father must chastise them in order to bring them to the understanding of Him, who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing. They're going to have to quit, just the same as you are. Nobody that's not willing to give up celebrating birthdays and holidays and eating the unclean will rise from the dead. You will remain in the congregation of the dead because you refuse to have any understanding of our Father, who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing. That's your choice. That's your choice. He's not going to force this on you. I'm not going to force this on you. Yeah, I'm going to keep making some videos here and there, but I'm not going to force it on you because most of the time, I'm not going to go there. All right. The conclusion is that it's teamwork. Now, when I named this chapter, I kind of thought I was done writing books. Maybe I'd be done writing books. That's why I named it that way, at least. But the conclusion of the whole matter is teamwork. We're going through life. We're supposed to be going through life with God the Father, with one another, with God the Father, and with Jesus. But everybody's out for their own gain. Yeah, I could show you in the scriptures where it says that nobody's here to love equally. They'll take the benefits of God loving them. They'll take the benefits of, all y'all think I was here 2,000 years ago, and don't really think that I am the author of our salvation. Jesus didn't write any books in the Bible, but yet we're told He's the author of our salvation. Now that makes sense with the King James Bible not being a history book, and I only appear once in the end of the world, and I've written 9 books now. These books are the only way you're going to get an understanding of our Father, who He is, what He's doing, why He's doing what He's doing. If you do not want to read the books, you are not going to become one with the Father. You will not rise from the dead. You will remain in the congregation of the dead. And when this world ends, you get to start over, and you're going to go another 70 or 80,000 years, or another 70 to 80 lives before you're. I say that right? 70 to 80. We live 70 to 80 years. The covenant's good for 1,000 generations. So it's another 70 to 80,000 years. Whatever. My math's not right. I'm just not thinking. But the conclusion is that it's teamwork. Everything we do, we're all in this together. We actually show this down. There is not. I know there's a lot of people in the United States that say, I won't buy anything that's not American made. Well, I got news for you. It's impossible. 150% impossible. There's nothing you own that has not been had does not have something from other countries, or that does not have something in it that's been transported by something that has something that was made in another country. There are so many different foreign components in everything nowadays. I don't care what you own. Let's say, you know what? Here we go. I'm going to give you an example. One that just comes off the mind, and I don't think I have it in this book. But let's say you got you a little yard, you got yourself a garden, you got yourself a tiller, and you got a hoe, and you take care of the garden. And okay, well, you know what? All that's American made, right? No, it's not. Because the seed that you planted in the ground, yeah, it might have come from America, but the machinery that they used to harvest that seed, it most likely had foreign computer chips in it. So it actually took someone from another country for you to be able to plant your own garden, for you to be able to get 1 ear of corn out of your garden. I'll guarantee you it somehow or another took someone from another country, took several people from another country in order for you to be able to do that. See, that's what this, when everybody starts all over in the beginning, it's like everybody's going to be standing in the field, no bathrooms, no houses, no grocery stores, and not even food planted. And everybody's going to do going around, walking around the field. What do we do? 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 Until you all come together and you start making something like a house, a bathroom, a shower. You wouldn't own anything if God the Father wouldn't have made all of us part of the one Son of God so that we could have all the conveniences that we have today. You wouldn't have nothing. You wouldn't even have toilet paper to wipe your behind with. Hope it isn't poison ivy that you grab. But look how convenient it is for us to live today. It takes everybody, no matter race, color, religion, nationalism, size, shape, doesn't matter who you are. Everybody is part of the one Son of God. And it took everybody for you to own anything and everything that you have today. It takes everybody just for you to eat each meal that you eat. Deuteronomy 8:10. Eat. When thy belly is full, then give thanks. That's the first half of the verse. That's all I'm going to say. But it takes teamwork. It's taken everybody throughout the world for anything you own. But yet so many people look at other people like they're so bad. But if it wasn't for those other people that are other people of other colors, other races, other nationalisms, you probably couldn't be doing what you're doing right now. It's teamwork. And the master coach is the father. He's running the show. That's the concept you get out of this book. Now, I will talk about this on the ninth book. The ninth book is the book that I had to go through to, as he had me show. Right before I did the Coast to Coast AM show, the father had me say, I just started the ninth book. I was only like 6 or 8 thousand words into it. And, and Coast to Coast had called me, and I think it was, yeah, it was September 13th. I was in Fruitland, Idaho, and just loaded a load of onions, and I got to driving. Or no, I was sitting there waiting for my clock to catch up with me, and the father says, "I want you to say this in the beginning." He says, "I want you to tell them that you have known the Bible so well because you've had to live through these lessons. You've had to experience every lesson I teach." So when he revealed me on Coast to Coast, I made sure I said that, and I said it at the beginning of the ninth book. Put it on the end of the precept page because I wasn't sure which one he was talking about because I was still new at the book. And no, the ninth book's not near as long. It's only 53,000 words or something like a little over 53,000 words. But the two hardest lessons I've ever had to go through are in the ninth book. And I'm still scorned by both of the lessons. I had to go through the reincarnation lessons. I had to go through me sacrificing my son like Abraham almost sacrificed his only begotten son. I've been through all this. These are all explained in the books. I've been through all these lessons. I've always said I've had to go through these. I'm in hardcore one-on-one schooling with the Father. No, the way he had me say it now is I've had to live through these lessons. I've had to experience these lessons. And I'm telling you, the ninth book, I won't even tell you the name of it because the name of it really gives you a summary of what the whole book's about. So I won't even give you the name of it until it's available on the website via Amazon. I don't know which one's going to be first. Probably be on Amazon first. Uh, anyway, all right, we kind of wrap this up tonight. Hit the like button. I should have said that at the beginning. Share it. And, frankly, I don't care if you leave comments or not, because I'm most likely not going to give them any regard. Uh, I've been rejected so long, I'm not going to sit here and argue with anybody. I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm not here to convince you. I know who I am. There's not anything anybody on this planet that can say or do to get me to stop being who I am. I am Jesus. I am the author of our salvation. If you don't want to take the time to read the books, suffer the consequences. Don't come to me crying, saying, why? Because it's not my fault. I've given you everything. I laid down my life. I've written these books. I've taken the time I've paid to publish these books, and I give you the books for free. Don't come crying to me. I've done everything. I don't need anything from you. I offer you an understanding of our Father, of my own free will. I don't care if you read. I don't care if you don't believe me. Like, share. I'm not worried about comments because I'm not going to take the time to babysit you. I'm not going to sit here and try to explain everything. Everything I teach is already written in the books. It's already written in the books. Yeah, I've got a bunch of videos on here, and I'll most likely make some more videos, but I'm not going to sit here and babysit you. Read the books. They're free. You just watched how we did it right here. Go to the website, download the book. Boom, done. Anyway, I think I've ran it on long enough. We talked about the eighth book, and I feel like the Father's telling me I needed to do it, so it's done. All right, I'm out. How do I shut this thing?